Welcome to Almost Here, Round the Corner Future Technology podcast with Richard Jacobs. Future technologies poised to transform our lives for better or worse are the focus of this podcast. Almost here means these technologies are now here and starting to be used, or just around the corner, from Bitcoin to artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Future Tech Podcast. I'm your host, Juliette Lamar, and joining us today is Matthew Herrick. He is the co-founder at Deedcoin. Welcome, Matthew.
Well, thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. We're very excited about Deedcoin, and we want to share it with all of our listeners. So why don't you go ahead and give us an overview about what Deedcoin is and what you do over there?
Okay. Well, I'll try and be as brief as possible. Deed, the token, is tokenized real estate commission. So right now, your real estate agent gets 6% of the most valuable thing you own. In fact, if you were to break that 6% up into mortgage payments, they get to take in about a week what took you 5 years worth of mortgage payments to, put in an equity in your home. All right. So instead of that 6% that no one voted on, or, we didn't agree to paying 6%, we broke that 6% into tenths. Right. So we found real estate brokers that were happy accepting 1%, commission, and the difference between that 1% and 6%, that remaining 5%, we tokenized and distributed to the free market. So now people have the ability to decide how much they want to pay for real estate services. So if I want to sell my house, and I can hop on Deedcoin.com and type in my address, and a man or woman will come and sell my house for, well, if I want to have them sell it for 4%, I'll deposit 20 Deedcoin. If I want them to sell it for 1%, I'll deposit 50 Deedcoin. So it puts people back in control of the thing that matters most, your home.
No, absolutely. And that's such an empowering thing, because I think a lot of people, when they're buying a home, they're stressed, or they're trying to sell a home, same thing. They're stressed. They're just trying to figure out the best solution in the most timely manner. And a lot of times you make decisions that maybe you're not happy with because you're stressed. And this is going to take that out. The stress is going to be lower.
Oh, yes. We partnered with IB, a business partner. Part of the business partnership program. Apparently you have to say that when you say you're an IBM business partner. But they've given us a host of cool tools, and we've deployed those tools to actually make the purchasing very easy. The Deedcoin platform handles 90% of the administrative work. So the filling out of paperwork, whether it's you or your real estate agent, if you want to sell your home yourself, right? The filling out of contracts, the offer letters, the addendums, the scheduling appointments with appraisers, all that's handled by AI. All of it's done on the platform. So not only is it, keeping you from getting ripped off, but it does pretty much everything except for show up to closing for you.
Well, that's pretty great. And it's all just in one concise area, because when you're buying and selling, you have all these different players that come into it, and it's so much easier to think of it all as a one-stop shop.
It works very similar to, actually, there's a bunch of apps that work similar to, kind of like Amazon. If you have a whole bunch of real estate brokerages to choose from, you can hop on your computer and have one come in for the absolute lowest price and, do 90% of the work for free.
Now, if people are, new to cryptocurrency, or maybe they're not even in it, but they're hearing this and they're thinking, I'd love to use it for buying or selling, what can they expect and how do they get started?
Oh, that's actually a really fun topic. We're very big believers in blockchain solutions. We feel like if it isn't something that's already built or in the final stages of being built, it shouldn't, be out there. If it doesn't help everyone equally, it shouldn't be out there. So the problem that we had with Deed when we were setting it up is, and the SEC is still a little bit unsure, I don't want to use the word confused, but unsure of where token sales and cryptocurrencies in general fall. So when we created Deed, we had that like light bulb moment. We started talking to some counsel, and then they directed us to people that are now retired from the SEC, but at the time weren't retired. I don't know how more carefully I can say that, but we told them what we wanted to do, and we said we built this platform that does real estate transactions for people, and we would like to sell some of our tokens and then build a real estate broker network across the country to support it. And they said, oh, that's nice. That's a security. You'll go to jail. And we're like, oh, okay. Oh, we don't want to do that. So how do we not go to jail? How do we not be a security? And they were like, well, it has to be usable by every American when they purchase it, like your Netflix, which is the analogy that the man kept on using. Right? He's like, when you buy your Netflix, you're happy with Netflix's service. It operates to the best Netflix can do, and you're okay with that. Right? And you buy it. It's a digital good. Right? It's like, so unless your product is not usable by everybody, it's a security. So we responded with, like, that would take a real estate broker in every single state at minimum. And he responded saying, then that sounds very difficult. Good luck. Please get out of my office. Not please get out of my office. He was very polite. So we went back to the drawing board, and we had to hire 11 people with telesales experience. And they worked for over 10 weeks straight, calling every single broker they could, all day, every day, until we had real estate brokers in every single state to accept the token before we even did our private sale. So the reason why that's important is a lot of crypto, especially at the token sale point, because of the kind of the haze of securities legislation, unless it's a fully functioning product, it's very, very, very much at risk of being a security, which means it's only allowed to be sold to accredited investors or non-U.S. people. And we didn't build, I mean, no offense to rich people, they're a majority of them are very pleasant people, but we didn't build it for them. So if our product could only save rich people and foreign people money, we failed. We'd rather not build it at all. So we plugged away until it was an actual working platform that works everywhere in the country, just so we could sell to the average person. If you make $50,000 a year, you don't need 6% of the most valuable thing in your life taken by someone that doesn't really care. And if you're a retiree that's living on a pension or Social Security, you can't afford somebody to take 6% of the most valuable assets you have. So if we couldn't help those people, we didn't want to do it at all. So once we got all 50 states and everyone in the country could use it, then we went ahead and started selling the token. That was built to, like, we did all of this so people could use it. But when we did do it, it had a bunch of really pleasant benefits. One of them was once you become, a digital good, you get to open up a whole host of new things like merchant processing, right? We were asked by our counsel, all right, well, who are you going to use for merchant processing? Like, what the heck do you mean? Like, credit cards. Like, how are people going to buy this? Or like, we could use credit cards? And he's like, yeah. So we built APIs in to generate Ether wallets for people that have never had crypto. We realized we came across a huge, huge opportunity. Every token in the world or that has ever existed can only be sold to people that are in crypto, and crypto users represent less than 1% of the population. So no matter what you build or how cool it is, 99% of the planet can't use it. So when we opened up the door for merchant processing, not only could the 1% of the world that uses crypto use it, but the other 99% could, and it gave us a lot of advantages, like as far as marketing dollars. If every token on the planet can only sell the 1% of the people, right, and we can sell the other 99, every dollar we spend in marketing is 99 times more effective than everybody else. So it's a whole bunch of a host, like doing it, I don't like to use the word, zealotlessly or fanatically, because, you got to kind of be a little crazy to build a thing that if you don't get to sell to the specific people that you want to sell to, you throw the whole thing in the trash. Right? Got to be a little weird, but because of that, we've got a whole bunch of benefits that we never even could have imagined. So anybody, when we developed it, we tested it on several of the older relatives, the people that worked in the office. So it is literally grandma tested. 60, 70-year-old women and men can go on Deedcoinlaunch.com or Deedcoin.com if they want to actually do a transaction right then and there and purchase token without any help from us. We sat them down with a laptop, literally went to the website and walked out of the room. And then 5 minutes later, they had their Ether wallet. It prints them up a nice little PDF. Right? So if it's hooked up if they have a printer hooked up, it'll actually print out a little certificate that says, this is your private key. Keep this safe, put it in a safe. And this is your public address. You now have an Ether wallet. This is what you give other people. If you it brought a whole bunch of people into the crypto community that never, ever, ever would have. So we may be the first token sale that they participate in, but now that they have, the tools that unless they had a grandson that was very into crypto, they never would have access to. So they will probably contribute and be a part of other token sales, or next thing you know, they're at the retirement resort just banging away and slamming trades out on Binance. It's really cool.
No, that is so cool. And I love, for lack of a better word, grandma tested, because I think that is one of the biggest barriers to entry is people are just, they don't know what to do, so they just don't do it. And really all you need to get started with Deedcoin is just have a credit card, really, and an ID, right?
Yeah, and that's another host of things, like 99%, I hate to use like 99 and 1% repetitively, but every token sale I've seen around here, around the planet, thinks that KYC and AML and securities compliance are the same thing, right? KYC and AML, checking if somebody is not a terrorist or a North Korean, which nowadays is kind of the same thing, right, is not the same thing as checking if they're an accredited investor. Mm-hmm. Right. So not only can you upload ID and KYC information, which later is actually what you use to fill out your real estate contracts when you purchase, by the way. If people want to purchase a large amount, obviously, like more than a person, even though we don't want them to, and we set it up kind of so they can't, if they wiggle around the system, we're still liable. So when everybody purchases a large amount, obviously they're trying to, use it for not real estate transactions, it then treats them like an accredited investor. It gives them a locked up token, and then they have, they can place an order, and they've got 3 days to upload documents of accreditation right there on the portal. So only recently have people started really being more aware of what securities compliance is. So I'm starting to see with the rise of like Securitize, those guys are great. Polymath, awesome guys. Like there are now people in the industry that have the right knowledge that are helping up and coming tokens do launches the right way. Because before that, it was a melee. Half of the token sales of 2017 didn't even have KYC.
Yeah, which is nuts.
That was one of the tangents I warned you about. I hammered on for 5 minutes.
No, it's all very interesting and relevant information, though. This is something that you are dealing with every day, and that people need to be aware of.
I agree. And honestly, I think that our community is probably, actually statistically, our community is some of the most intelligent consumers there are. There's a reason that the crypto community is the lowest performing community for paid advertisements on the planet. Like AdWords doesn't trick us. Facebook ads, they don't get us, right? Because we are the community of doing our own research, right? We are informed as hell. So we have all this knowledge. We like to talk about it on Reddit and Medium, and Bitcoin talk about how much we know, but we're only telling other crypto people. We really need to turn around and take all this stuff that we know and tell not crypto people.
Yeah.
Because the more people we can throw into the market, the more people that now get involved and become a part of it. Everybody, like yes, the market cap of all crypto goes up, right? But we aren't the smartest people in the world. There are people out there, like, whenever you think you're the best at something is the day that you're going to be proven that wrong. Mm-hmm. So the more people we bring into the community, the next geniuses, the next, IOTAs, the next EOSs, the next Vitalics, like, they're out there. They're just not in crypto. So, yes, we get to, the more people we bring in increases the value of everyone's tokens that are in their pocket, regardless of what they are. But the next, breakthrough is probably in some guy's head that is so busy, I don't know, curing cancer or whatever he's doing that day, to learn how to use crypto. If somebody were to teach him, I don't know, I'm a big advocate of, bringing people into the community and educating.
Well, I think that Deed token is something that would be a great gateway for people getting into the space, because people do buy and sell their property, and they're always looking for a better solution to the rates, to the fees, to the people they have to work with. And
even to the existing 1% brokerages.
Exactly.
Have you ever heard of Redfin?
Yes.
Redfin tends to be a 1% operation. Like, they'll list your house for 1%, but at best it can only do 4%, because let's say if Redfin comes and this is a shameless Deedcoin plug, everybody, I apologize. If Redfin comes and sells your house for 1%, right, they only get 1%, but the agent that represents the buyer, right, the other side of the table, you still have to pay that guy, and that guy's 3%. Yeah. So at best, it's 1%. With Deedcoin, because of the magic of blockchain, and also, the ability to geolocate very quickly and establish perimeters, when a buyer and seller when a Deedcoin buyer and a Deedcoin seller is on both ends of a transaction, it's an actual 1% commission, not, 1% for this guy, and then I say, okay, that guy 4%. It's a true 1%. Redfin, I believe, is in 38 states and 87 cities. Deedcoin right now is in we have brokerages in 163 cities across all 50 states and Puerto Rico. So we are 34% larger than Redfin. I mean, it's not really a big deal. I mean, Redfin's only valued at $3 billion, and they're tiny, and it took them 13 years to get that tiny. So because of the back end of Deedcoin, we can onboard brokers really fast. So it's more of partnering. So because of the massive amount of tech that's available, and in this age, we're able to expand very, very, very rapidly. So if the Deedcoin broker nearest you is 45 minutes away, in a month or two, it'll probably be 3 minutes away or 4 minutes away. Because of the network model, I know I didn't get much into it, it allows the broker's network, basically the coverage area, like if you imagine it as a cell phone tower, right? It allows everybody to come in and bring their own cell phone tower. So the coverage map grows rapidly. Any broker that sees, Deedcoin and believes that, hey, maybe I shouldn't knock people over the head for 6% and fight for clients. Maybe I should just do 1%, and then clients kind of knock my door down. Right? Anybody that's forward thinking can hop on to Deedcoin and submit an application, and if they're not a serial killer or a terrorist or have bad customer service scores, which is what we base our metrics on since we're providing the sales volume, they can be a Deedcoin broker in as little as a day. So not only
Very
our
cool.
token holders, our token holders are using it. To give you an example, somebody purchased the last sales phase $30 in 20 tokens, and then went and purchased a house literally 2 days after, and they got a check for, I believe it's $4,700 or $3,700. I can't remember. I'm driving, so I don't want to think too hard and crash. But $3,780. They got a check for $3,780 in real monies. Direct. Wow. 2 days after they purchased token. So they received 128x on their investment.
So if someone is, they're going to buy a home or they're going to sell a home within the next 30 days. They go on to deedcoinlaunch.com, they buy some token, and then will it connect them with brokers that are in their area? Is there like a community connection system so that they can?
Yes.
Yeah. How's that
yes, ma'am. Okay, so let's say the next Deedcoin sales phase is 5 weeks away. But you need to buy or sell a house now, because 5 weeks from now, that house that you want will most likely be sold. The average time on the market for houses in the United States, sub $1 million, sub $500,000 is less than 2 weeks. So the house you want will probably be sold by then. So you need Deedcoin now. Deedcoin's not very usable if you have to wait 5 weeks to buy some. So if you are doing a real estate transaction right then and there and you need it quickly, right, you can go to Deedcoin.com, right, which is the site that the tokens are used on. Right? That's how you connect to your broker. I'll get to that in a second. But you can purchase just the amount that you need in an instant outside of sales phases. Right? So if I need 20 token to buy a house, because I don't want to have my agent get 3% of what I'm buying and me get nothing, or selling my house, right, with the opposite scenario, but just as bad, right, I can purchase increments of 50 or 20 in real time, and it automatically starts a real estate transaction for you. Right? You don't get to pop them in your wallet. Right? They do get deposited into the Deedcoin system, and it starts a transaction. So you type in the address of either the home that you want or your house that you're trying to sell. Right? It finds the nearest Deedcoin broker. Right? Automatically links you. Right? It sets up a chat and an email as well. So you are connected immediately in the chat, or if they're in the field or hammering a for sale sign in somebody's yard and they aren't in front of their computer, it links you via email, and then the transaction would start. The broker will call you within 24 hours, I believe, is the longest time it's taken right now. There's about 16,000 users currently, and the longest time for a response is in 22 hours. Right. Wow. I mean, Nebraska is apparently it's a pretty laid back place. No one checks their email very often there. So yeah, at the longest you would have to wait to be able to use the token would be 24 hours. So you will have a man or a woman hammering a for sale sign into your front yard within 24 hours, or you'll be connected and chatting with the man or the woman that's doing it, or them showing you houses that you're about to buy within 24 hours, anywhere in the country, and Puerto Rico too. We've actually gotten a huge influx of requests from real estate brokers in other countries. Right now it's about 12. The only reason why Deedcoin isn't in 13 countries right now is because we have to do legal due diligence, because the real estate laws of each country are different and tricky. And when you're a foreign entity, it gets really tricky, even though we're partnering. So we are in the process of working it out. Inside of the next 6 months, we should have 5 countries. I won't talk about too much about which ones they are, but I will tell you that one of them is going to be Australia, and we will be not going into Australia with one broker. We're currently working with a Australian nationwide real estate company to partner with. So when Australia comes online in the next couple of months, every Australian will be able to use it, unless you're literally in the outback like you see in the movies. Then you're going to have to walk for a really long time.
Yeah. That's
it
so
can
great.
only work.
Deedcoin
can only work in some countries, though. A lot of countries aren't crazy like the U.S. and try and take 6% of people's stuff. Right? So, a couple of the European countries are only 1% commission. right? We can't really bring commission down that far, if it's already at 1%. We believe that's a fair number. So the countries that you will see Deedcoin in very shortly are any of the countries with real estate commission over 3%, 3% and over. So anything above 2. That gives Deedcoin the ability to save people some serious amounts of money. Also, I always forget to say this. There is two commercial Deedcoin real estate brokers in every state. All right. So even if you are buying a condo building and not a condo in a building, right, you can use the token. So if it saves $3,780 on a $180,000 house, $160,000 house, it would save $40,000 on a $1.5 million house, or it would save $400,000 on a $14 million building. So every time we talk about that, people get a little squeamish because let's say if I'm buying a $100,000 house, Deedcoin, each token is going to save me $100. But if I'm buying a $10 million bill, or even just $1 million house, $1,000. Right? So people generally worry about the price of the token outpricing its utility. Because let's say if Deedcoin saves me $1,000, right, I'll buy yours for $500 happily, and I'll still save $500 more, right? But the person that's only buying a $100,000 house, he can't afford to have a $500 token. He would actually lose money, right? So without having everybody, pause this podcast and go read our white paper, there is a very, very, very awesome math formula that takes place in the back end of Deedcoin at all times. And it's called the alpha formula. It's a proration formula that allows the usability to stay the same and no matter what the price is on the current market. So let's say Deedcoin is $1,000. I don't know, hypothetically, besides me being, a very happy dude, the transaction size, right? Like let's say you're a $100,000 house person. You may not need 20 Deedcoin to sell your house. You may need 2 Deedcoin or maybe 0.2 Deedcoin. It automatically prorates down the amount of token required depending on the price, because we built this around helping regular people, not just accredited investors or, not to repeat myself, but we didn't want anyone to be priced out, right? So no matter what the token price is, you will always be able to purchase it and use it. You just will use less of it, right? And hopefully at one point in time, if you want to buy a $100,000 house, you're going to only need 0.000001 token to do the transaction. So that is happening right now on the platform in real time. So no one will ever be priced out, no matter what happens. And if it goes the opposite direction, we eat it. It will never increase the amount of token required to do a transaction, right? No matter what happens, the token will be twice as valuable when you use it. So if it's $1,000, right, it will save you a minimum of $2,000. If it's $2,000, it'll save you $4,000. We just prorate the amount needed down.
No, it's such a great system, and I really think that a lot of people are going to start benefiting from it. It's so exciting. So for the listeners who are interested, they want to go and check it out for themselves. They want to look it up. Deedcoinlaunch.com is the best, or just Deedcoin? Which is the best place for them to go?
So it depends on. I know it sounds even more convoluted, but if you want to hear about the token sale and purchase, more than 20 or 50 tokens, if you're not trying to do a real estate transaction now, the token sale site, the real meat and potatoes of it, the white paper, the Deedcoin encyclopedia, is at deedcoinlaunch.com. If you have tokens and you are trying to do a real estate transaction literally right now while you're listening to this, or, tomorrow, whatever, go to Deedcoin.com. That is the site that the tokens are used on. That's where you can connect with your broker. Even if you're not doing a real estate transaction, feel free to click the broker map and poke around and see how many brokers there are in your state or your town. The map is interactive, so it gives you a good idea of where, your real estate advocates are located. And that is also the same site to use if you are trying to do a transaction. If I need to purchase 20 Deedcoin to buy a house tomorrow and I don't want to wait for Matt to stop talking on a podcast and go open up a sales page, you can purchase Deedcoin in the amounts needed.
Very cool. Well, Matt, thank you so much for joining us here at Future Tech Podcast and sharing this fantastic new program that I think is going to be such a game changer for the real estate industry.
Oh, yeah. Actually, sorry I know it was probably wrapping up, but I do want to say real quick, we partnered with Capacity. They do 3D imaging and virtual reality off of all types of fun stuff like mobile. So all the Deedcoin agents and brokers in the country have access to Capacity's tech. So anyone with an iPhone 8 and above or a Samsung Galaxy S7, anything that shoots 4K video can literally do a 360-degree turn in each room while they're taking video, and Capacity stitches it together into a complete virtual reality environment and then provides the agent with a link. So even if you're looking at you're not on Deedcoin site, if you're looking at a Deedcoin listing on Zillow and you click the link, right, any person can tour any Deedcoin home in virtual reality anytime. So a person can tour a house, 5 houses in 5 different states in 10 minutes without ever leaving their house. So,
wow.
Through our partnership, there's a bit of exclusivity. I'm not going to go into that, but I wouldn't expect to see that anytime soon in the next couple of years on any other platform besides ours. So, yeah, I think we're the only ones doing virtual reality, augmented reality home touring and using it for showing real estate. So if the house that you're looking at is really, really, really far away from you, you can just put on your Google goggles or your Oculus or your whatever the Samsung one is that is like both of those two things, and you can interact with the house like you're actually there. If you want to, see how much dust is underneath the table, you can.
That's fantastic because so many people are either A, don't have the time to go to a bunch of open houses, or B, like you said, geographically are too far away to go and do all these homes.
Real estate agents are the only people that have time in their lives to drive around and look at different houses.
Exactly.
Like, nobody has time to do that. And that's the thing, the tech is out there. The real estate industry is the slowest moving industry as far as tech in the world, thanks to the NAR, the National Association of Realtors, that pretends to be a consumer advocacy organization, but is actually a giant union and the largest lobbying organization in real estate, by the way. Those are the guys that petition the government to keep the prices at 6%. Yeah, seriously, everybody thinks the NAR is if I'm going to plug Deedcoin, I'm going to take a shot at the NAR too, to see even things out. Yeah, everyone thinks that the National Association of Realtors is good for them and helps keep them safe. In fact, these are the guys that charge every single agent in the country $1,000 a year, or else they don't get MLS access. And they use that $1.5 billion to pay special interest groups to lobby the government to keep commission at 6%. The reason that there's 50 different real estate laws or sets of laws for 50 different states is another thing that they've been very successful at. And very recently, they used their lobbying leverage and their friends in Congress to pressure Zillow to, as of 4 months ago, a person cannot sell their house and list it on Zillow themselves. So, yeah, You have to use a licensed realtor, quote unquote, a member paying, card carrying, due payer, right? Or else you don't get access to Zillow. You, the actual person, cannot go list your house, right? You could for sale sign in front of your house, right? But 97% of the country finds their houses on 3 websites that are all owned by the same company. So if you want to do it yourself and not pay 6%, they don't let you use any of the cool toys like Zillow. So
wow, so that's good. That's definitely good to know.
Yeah, that's kind of what started it. We watched what Bitcoin did with the banking industry and how the magic of block just gets around these ginormous, centralized, generally mean organizations. Right? Once it's out there, once the tokens are, in the hands of token holders, there's no point in trying to lobby to keep commissions at 6%. You can't put blockchain back in the box. So, yeah, sorry to, take a mean against
just
NAR,
more
but that's
information.
the real inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what, I'm going to shut up now.
Well, Matt, you've been a wealth of information, and this is such a great idea and a great working solution for these problems that we covered here. So I just want to thank you for joining us and taking the time. I know you're driving and you're on your way going and doing things, but thank you so much for taking the time to join us here today.
Thank you for letting me run my mouth for that long.
Absolutely. Well, everyone, that is Matthew Herrick. He is the co-founder at Deedcoin. You can check them out, like we mentioned, at deedcoinlaunch.com. Thank you all so much for tuning in. This has been Juliette Lamar with Future Tech Podcast.
You have been listening to Almost Here, Around the Corner Future Technology Podcast with Richard Jacobs. Subscribe to this podcast, post a review to discover more future technologies that are poised to transform our lives for better or worse, such as Bitcoin, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, blockchain, virtual reality, and more.